Hey, what is up guys? DRC3 here, back with another My Hero Ultra Impact video, and today we're going to be talking about whether you should pass or pull on the current ongoing Impact Fest banner for Tsuyu and the upcoming banner Urgent Orders Recover the Hidden Future for Compress. Now, before we even get into this video, I'm going to say right now, if you are a free-to-play player, you should be passing on both of these banners. The reason being, at the end of May, we have the Japanese 2-year anniversary coming up, and no matter how hype Tsuyu is, no matter how hype Compress is, the anniversary units are going to be far more hype. Really amazing. Now, as for what they are, we do not know what the anniversary characters are going to be yet, so I'm not even going to speculate in this video what they might be, but I guarantee you they will be at least fantasy Tsuyu level or fantasy character level, if not better, and I would expect them to be better and potentially with a new theme and probably no longer fantasy characters. So with that said, we're going to be taking a look at Tsuyu's kit, we're going to be taking a look at Compress's kit and the memories on his banner, and seeing if the banners are worth summoning on at all with like silver tickets, or if they're worth it for like dolphin players to summon on. We are going to be starting with the new fantasy Tsuyu. Her plus ultra move is called Froppy Strike, and basically what her plus ultra does is it's going to increase her skill impact and critical hit rate if she's hiding, and it also shortens her action skill cooldown time. So it's honestly a really good plus ultra move. Her first action skill is called Froppy Swing, and this skill decreases the power of all opponents, and it also increases her own skill impact when hiding once again. So she increases her skill impact with her plus ultra, she increases her skill impact with her first action skill, she also increases her skill impact with her second action skill. So this Froppy is actually going to hit fairly hard, and she also has a cooldown time of 4, which is really a cooldown time of 3 with her plus ultra action skill cooldown reduction. So she has 2 action skills with cooldown times of 3, which is actually just insane. That is some of the best cooldowns in the game for any character, making her very good as a character. Her second action skill is called Froppy Spear, and this also, in addition to increasing her skill impact, increases her plus ultra gauge by 30%, and whenever a character increases their own plus ultra gauge, it's absolutely beautiful. It works really well for VE Towers. So this character is going to be a really good addition to your character pool for VE Tower units. Her first auto skill is called Decisively Excellent. It gives character the ability to hide when HP is 50% or higher, so she's basically hiding from the start of battle as long as she's above 50% HP, which is just nuts. It's actually really good. And then it also increases her power when using a successfully executed skill chain up to 6 times. That's a technical hit. So anytime you use these action skills right here, you are getting a technical hit. And then it goes on to say prevents all allies from getting a status element 1 time when using a 3rd successfully executed skill chain up to 3 times. So once again, she is going to get technical hits for that part as well on these action skills, making them double technical hits. This is a character with double technical hits. She may lack status elements, but the fact that she has low cooldown, she has plus ultra gauge raise, and she has double technicals makes her absolutely amazing, phenomenal for VE Tower, and I think she's going to fit in well on a lot of different teams. Her second auto skill is called Tranquility of the Mind. When character is hiding, gives character piercing shot. That's not necessary, but it could be helpful in some VE Towers. It's going to be helpful in PvP. Piercing shot's really good in PvP, and increases defense of all allies, excluding character, by 30%. Increasing the defense of all allies by 30% is also a bit nutty. When character is not hiding, regenerates character's HP by 10%. So imagine this character hiding behind Kirishima in PvP, raising his defense by 30%. It's actually pretty cool, and it'll be interesting to see when I do a showcase this character. If you haven't checked out the summon video, go check that out. It was pretty exciting pulling for this character. Now, in terms of this banner, in terms of the fantasy banner, is this character worth it? Is she at least worth some silver tickets? Absolutely. Take your silver tickets, spend them on this character. Hopefully you get the character. Now, the rates obviously are, even though it's a 1.5 times rate banner, summoning on single summons is not always the greatest, right? So just keep that in mind, but hopefully you get lucky, and at least you can say you increased your chances of getting her. So I would recommend doing a few single summons with your silver tickets. If you are able to do 1 multi and still be able to get to pity on the anniversary, then maybe do a multi or 2 on this banner. Like, this banner is far superior to Compress's banner. So if there was any banner you should summon on out of the two that are out, it's going to be this banner right here. Now let's talk about Compress's. The SR memory on Compress's banner is called Strong, Wise, and Healthy. It increases the character's power by 30% when equipped by a male character. That's cool, not really helpful for much. When a wave starts, gives character the ability to evade 2 times and prevents character from getting a status element 1 time. The art is amazing. The memory is pretty much useless, so don't worry about summoning on the Compressed banner for this memory. You can do your dailies and you might get lucky and pull this memory, but it's not really worth it. The new UR memory is called You've Got Time to Laugh. It increases character skill impact by 40% if Izuku Midori is on the team. 40% is a lot of skill impact increase, so that's actually decent, but that is with it being DX'd. If we go to level 1, it's only 25%, so keep that in mind. It increases character's critical hit rate by 25% if Katsuki Bakugo is on the team. 25% crit rate is pretty good, but once again, it's only 10% if you have level 1, so it's still not the greatest memory if you're only pulling for 1 copy, and at this point on the Compressed banner, most people probably are not going to be pulling for a DX copy of this memory. Continuing on, increases character's defense by 35% if Ochako or Araka is on the team. That's honestly a decent defense memory. Like 35% is a good amount of defense, but if we go back to level 1, only 20% if you pull 1 copy. And then increases character's speed by 35% if Tenya Ida is on the team, and it only increases your speed by 20% if he's on the team for level 1. So overall, this memory is really cool, and I like how it has character specific effects, which are nice. And you can, like, for PvP, a lot of these effects will be good. Even for PvE, it'd be good. Having the Ochako or Araka on your team for defense is good for PvP. Having Bakugo on your team for the 25% crit rate is good for PvE. It could have its uses, but I feel like for it to be actually really useful, you do need to have a DX'd. And so for that reason, this memory is not that great. I would personally probably pass on pulling for this memory, at least, unless you're going to go for a fully DX copy of this memory to make it halfway decent. But there are just better choices in the game. The art, though, once again, the art team killing it. Now the moment you've been waiting for, we're going to talk about the new Mr. Compress, the first real kind of support villain in the game. And since he is the first support villain in the game, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm not sure how he's going to work out. His kit is very weird to me, and I don't think it's going to be all that great, but that's just my personal opinion. We don't know until we get him in the game, try him out. But his plus ultra move is called Rock Magic, and what this one does is it has a high chance, 70%, of binding the opponent for 2 turns. I wish they'd come up with a different effect for Compress, because I don't know that he really has a bind per se, but 70% a high chance of binding is still good. Also shortens character's action skill cooldown time, sorry, not character's action skill cooldown time, all action skill cooldown time for all allies by 1, which is really good. That's helpful. That turns his 5-turn cooldown here into a 4-turn cooldown, and his 4-turn cooldown into a 3-turn cooldown, and that's also going to help all your other allies. His first action skill is called Release Illusion. Deals 275% damage to all opponents. It decreases the defense of all opponents by 30%. That's actually massive. That's really good for 3 turns with a low chance, 30% of binding all opponents for 2 turns. I wish this was a medium chance, and I would like this a lot better, and not just for 2 turns. 3 turns would be a little bit better. I feel like there's other characters in the game already like that do similar things and do it better, so I don't know how I feel about this action skill, to be honest with you guys. The second action skill is called Stock Creation. Gives a single ally the ability to hide for 2 turns and regenerates the ally's HP by 20% for 2 turns. So he is a healer. It's a weird healing effect. Gives a single ally the ability to hide. So they'll hide for 2 turns and they'll regenerate their HP by 20%. So they'll get 40% of their HP back basically over 2 turns, and they can't be targeted. So that's interesting, but if somebody does have an attack all character, or you're going against an attack all character in PvE, they can still hit that character that is hiding. Also reduces damage to all allies by 30% for 2 turns. That reduction of damage by 30% though is actually pretty good. Reducing damage, I would argue, is probably better than raising defense, because this is an overall percentage. You're just not going to take 30% of that damage, whereas if you raise your defense, you're raising how much like your stats for defense. So reduction of damage is a little bit better. The first auto skill, Mad Illusionist, decreases the speed of all opponent heroes by 20%. So that's obviously very geared towards PvP, and I'd be interested to see how that works out. I don't feel like speed is a big thing in PvP right now. It's not that critical or important. So I feel like if this character had come back come out like back in time, you know, he would be a lot better. But for right now, that's just not super important. Then when using a second or later successfully executed skill chain, decreases the skill impact of all opponents by 20% for 3 turns and critical hit rate by 20% for 3 turns. Now that is actually useful. Decreasing opponent's skill impact and critical hit rate will help you with PvP. It's also technically a technical hit there, so that would be good for PvE, giving him double, or not double technicals, but a technical on each action skill, which is pretty good. This one would actually be a double technical because it decreases the defense already, so this one becomes a double technical. You get a technical here, so pretty good with the technical hits. Good for PvE. He has status elements. Honestly, I think he's going to be a better PvE character than I think he's going to be a PvP support, but that's just my opinion. His second auto skill is called There's No Tricks Up My Sleeve when used in a second or later successfully executed skill chain. So another technical hit. There you go. It increases plus ultra gauge of all allies by 20% and defense by 20% for 3 turns. That is still going to be, in my mind, just very PvE oriented. He's going to be a great PvE character for VE Tower. As far as PvP goes, I don't think he's going to have enough healing. I don't think he's going to have enough utility for the team, as much as I would love to have a villain support, like a true villain support for a villain team in PvP. I just don't think it's going to happen, and I don't think this is the character for it. But we do have the anniversary coming up, so we can all cross our fingers and hope that they don't do just another Bakugo and Deku. But realistically, who knows if that is going to happen. Anyways, guys, for this character, I would absolutely pass on his banner, pass on the UR memory, pass on the SR memory, because you just don't need to pull on him. The character is good for PvE, but he's not good for PvP and PvE. If he was good for both, I would say maybe consider pulling for him, but like Tsuyu is actually good for both. She'll be decent for PvP, decent for PvE, really good for PvP if you're a newer player and don't have other characters, not so much if you've been around for a while. And so just keep that in mind. As far as this character goes, though, absolutely pass. Also, mainly because he is a general pool unit. He will be featured on future banners, so don't worry about pulling him now, because you will be able to pull him later. That is it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please go down there, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and thank you guys for watching. Peace.